first we just need to start off with, you know, do you expect USC fans to boo Clay Helton? Should he be booed? Like, so what do you think the reception is going to be? What do you think the reception should be? And this really gets into the Clay Helton era at USC and how we make sense of it now that we have a few years separation from it.
I don't think I'm going to start off by saying I don't think that they should boo him. I just don't think that the the Clay Helton era is obviously a disappointment. But I feel like, and I've seen this. There's been a lot of talk about this on Twitter today, and I've been following it pretty closely. And it seems like everybody understands that like Clay Helton was not a bad guy. Like everybody seems to really appreciate who he was as a human being, and also everybody appreciates that he put his best foot forward for the program. That doesn't mean that he was the best fit for the program. That doesn't mean that the program should have kept him as long as they could have, because a lot of people are, kind of also chiming in and saying, the program should not have kept him as long as they did. So I feel like people, now a couple of years removed from 2021, when everybody was, up in arms and about firing him, and it was way overdue. I feel like now everybody kind of has calmed down a little bit and realizes, like, we have the Rose Bowl memories with Clay Helton. Like, he put his best foot forward. He was a great guy. All the players loved him in terms of like his personality and how he related to them. So like, it's not, I don't think it shows I don't think it represents what most USC fans who have been diehard fans and, rooted for the team through the Helton era, what they really feel and value about him. So I hope that they don't. Could they? I don't think you're going to see a standing ovation. Like, I think we've just entered into such a hot take era of sports, and such a, very like fast paced, highly like consumerist era, where it's just like you want success and you want success now. And so like, could I see a couple of, younger fans, students, or recently graduated students who have had a couple of beers already, like, booing him scattered throughout the stadium? I could see it happening. But again, I don't think that is the representative view of true USC fans. And I don't think that, he's going to get 70,000 people booing him on Saturday. And I think, most of the stadium is going to support him. And I think another thing that kind of adds another layer to this conversation is, I think that if there's anyone who deserves to feel a sort of competitive spirit against him, it's Lincoln Riley, just because of how, Lincoln Riley came in and had a lot of success, and then there's been kind of the backslide the past few years. And I feel like a lot of I've seen some talk on Twitter that was like, we basically just backslid to the mediocre Helton era, so why did we fire him in the first place? Yada, yada, yada. So, if there's anyone who should wish the worst for Clay Helton on Saturday, it's Lincoln Riley. And, want to put up a 60 or 70, point victory on him, or, count as many points as you want to count, just to, really put a stamp in, we're in a better era now of USC football. But, I saw a quote from Lincoln Riley that just came out a couple hours ago after practice, and he was talking about just who Clay Helton is as a human being. And it seems like he really shares that same view as a lot of USC fans. He talked about golfing with him at Pebble Beach tournaments and just having really great conversations, and said that that's actually the main reason he looks forward to going to those tournaments. So, yeah, I mean, I think you can get all your frustrations out with him and with his era on the football field by cheering on, your own team, by cheering on the Trojans on Saturday, but definitely shouldn't boo him. And I don't think you're going to get more than a few scattered, younger, more hot take culture era fans that kind of lean into that idea.
I very much agree, and that's the sentiment of a lot of the folks in the chat, including Jeff Rodriguez, and he really puts it well. It would be classless to boo him, even though I couldn't stand him. And we couldn't stand him in terms of wins and losses, in terms of what he said in press conferences, pre and post game. But it just means he wasn't that great at his job. But that's not a reflection on who you are as a person. Like, we all try to be good at our jobs, and sometimes we fail, but that doesn't mean we're immoral. Doesn't mean we have deficient character. Just meant that a particular job description with a particular skill set, well, we couldn't quite get where we wanted to go. We couldn't quite achieve what he hoped to. Like, we give things a try in this life. We just have this one chance to do something on this earth, and that means experimenting. That means risking. That means seeing what we can and can't do. And we learn through failure, right? We try to do something. We see how far we can reach, and the failures are what teach us, how to either do things better or to seek a different path. And those different paths could lead us to a lot of wonderful experiences. It's happened for many people. It is part of life itself that learning from failure, that defines our lives. It defines who we become, how we evolve, what we're able to make of this life journey. So Clay Helton gave it a whirl at USC, and he failed, but it's not as though he installed himself. And this is a key point here. Someone else had to install him, right? And Aaron Boone, USC Trojan, okay? Here's a nice little comparison. Hal Steinbrenner, owner of the Yankees, and Brian Cashman, the GM, they keep him there. They could choose to fire Aaron Boone. They keep him there instead. It's not as though Aaron Boone is running the whole ship. He's running the team on the field, but he's not the boss of the whole operation. So there's a neat parallel, right, with USC. Pat Hayden installed him in 2015. And if you go back to 2015, there was the Pac-12 championship game against Christian McCaffrey and Stanford. So in a logical world, that would have been the audition for Clay Helton to become permanent USC head coach. But Pat Hayden names him the permanent coach before the game. And then USC gets its doors blown off by Stanford. And that just set the tone for the era. And of course, the era's one bright spot, the Clay Helton tenure's one mountaintop moment, Sam Darnold, who, Clay Helton didn't identify him as the starter at the beginning of 2016, but at least he made the change just in the nick of time to win 9 straight games, make the 2017 Rose Bowl, win it, and then come back the next year and win the Pac-12 championship, the only Pac-12 championship since the end of the Pete Carroll era. So actually, it's USC's only Pac-12 title because Pete Carroll coached in the Pac-10 era. So anyway, just to reinforce the point, it's not as though Clay Helton just became Emperor of Troy. No, someone had to appoint him to that post, and that someone was Pat Hayden. And then Lynn Swann, presided over the debacle of the post-Darnold era, and competent leadership would have gotten him out, but Lynn Swann was not very competent as an athletic director, very competent as an NFL and college player, Hall of Famer, but he wasn't good at everything. He wasn't good at administration, wasn't good at executive leadership. So yeah, it's not as though this was Clay Helton's fault. It was Clay Helton's fault USC didn't win, but it was the fault of Pat Hayden and Lynn Swann and just dysfunctional USC athletic department leadership that Clay Helton stayed on the job as long as he did. And so that is also why we shouldn't boo him. We should respect him, but then on the field, kick the crap out of Georgia Southern. That's the way to go. It's welcome, Clay. You're a good man. We're glad you're here. And now we're going to beat your butt by 50. That's just the way to do it. All right. So our friend Russ Campbell, another loyal watcher, listener here on the USC channel, the Voice of College Football, $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Russ. Russ says, as much as I'd love to boo the hell out of Helton, out of Sark, Kiffin, Riley, and Clay, only one of those guys got us a Rose Bowl. Very true. Very true. We're still waiting on it for Lincoln Riley. And Kiffin and Sark, they needed to go to training school, and they, of course, they did. It was the Nick Saban rehab facility in Tuscaloosa. Learned how to be a coach, learned how to be organized. And Kiffin also went to Florida Atlantic, got that group of 5 job that usually most young coaches need before they climb the ladder. Kiffin getting the Tennessee job in 2009, getting the USC job in 2010, like it was just before his time. He wasn't ready. Los Angeles sports fans will appreciate this comparison. Luke Walton, remember when Luke Walton got the Laker job? It was just so early in his career. Bide your time. Make sure that when you get your dream job, your crown jewel job in your coaching career, that you're fully ready for it. Luke Walton wasn't remotely ready for that. Like it's not just about getting your dream job. It's about knowing that you're ready, knowing that you're prepared, so that when the job opens up, if the timing's not right, spend several years in the salt mines, learn the ins and outs of your craft, and then there will be time 10 years, 12 years down the line to get your job at the time when you know that you're ready for it. So Clay Helton wasn't ready at USC. Lane Kiffin wasn't ready when he came to USC. Comparisons with Luke Walton and the Lakers. So Russ's point, it's entirely accurate. It's 100% true. Only Clay Helton got USC a Rose Bowl win. We could extend this and say, Ted Tolner got USC a Rose Bowl win, unlike Steve Sarkisian and Kiffin and Lincoln Riley. So we can kind of stretch that one out. It's one of the weird facts of college football and USC history. But Russ Campbell's point very much